On a rock in the Atlantic Ocean, a lighthouse stopped burning. 3 men lived there, and their only job was to keep that light alive. When a boat finally reached them, all 3 were gone. This is Eilean Mòr, the largest of the Flannan Isles, about 20 miles west of the Isle of Lewis, in Scotland. Cliffs on every side. No harbour, no village, no trees. You may have heard this story before. A hot meal left on the table. A chair turned over. Almost none of that is true. The real evidence is stranger and sadder. The lighthouse was almost new, first lit on the 7th of December, 1899. 3 keepers worked there at a time. A keeper is the person who lives in a lighthouse and keeps it running. James Ducat was the principal keeper, the man in charge. He was married, and he had 4 children waiting for him at home on Lewis. Thomas Marshall was the second assistant keeper. He was not married. The third man, Donald McArthur, was only there because another keeper, William Ross, was ill. McArthur was an occasional keeper, a stand-in. He was a married man from the same village as the others. He was not supposed to be there at all. Their work was steady and hard. Keep the light burning all night. Clean the lens, fill the oil, write the record down every day. On the morning of the 15th of December, 1900, James Ducat wrote down the weather, as always. It was the last thing any of the 3 men ever wrote. That same day, a cargo steamer called the Archtor passed the islands in bad weather. Her crew looked for the Flannan light. There was no light. The ship reached Leith 3 days later, and the news was passed on. But no special boat was sent. Sources do not agree on exactly why. A supply visit was already planned. This trip is called the Relief. It brings food and takes tired men home. It should have sailed on the 20th of December. The sea refused. The ship Hesperus finally reached the island at midday on the 26th of December. 11 days after the light went out. No flag was flying. Nobody came down to meet her. A keeper named Joseph Moore went ashore and climbed the long stair alone. The outer gate was closed. Both outside doors were closed. He shouted. Nothing answered him. Inside, the clocks had stopped. The fire had not been lit for days. The beds were empty, just as the men had left them early one morning. But the light room was in perfect order. The lamp was ready, the oil was full, the lens was clean. The morning work had been finished properly. In the entrance passage hung the coats. Oilskins are heavy waterproof coats, the kind you wear in a storm. 2 sets were missing. 1 set was still there. The coat left behind belonged to Donald McArthur. In December, on a cliff in the Atlantic, no man walks out without his coat. Unless he goes out in a hurry. The island was searched for 3 days. Nothing. At the East Landing everything was in order. Ropes stored there weeks before lay exactly where they had been coiled. The West Landing was wrecked. A landing is the place where a boat can come in. Iron railings were bent, twisted and broken. An iron track was torn out of its concrete. A block of stone weighing about a ton had been pushed out of place. And a wooden box of ropes, kept in a crack in the rock 110 feet above the sea, had gone. A life ring had been tied to those railings. It was gone too, but the ropes holding it were not broken. The sea had pulled it through them. 110 feet up. Robert Muirhead, the superintendent, the officer in charge of the keepers, gave his answer in January. The men had gone down to save that box, and a wave had risen higher than they stood, and taken all 3. He had chosen those men himself. So, no meal on the table. No fallen chair. no strange diary. A poem invented some of it, and a hoax, a story made up to fool people, invented the rest. What is real is a bent railing high above the water and one coat still on its hook. If this story stretched your English, stay with the channel. Next time, a Navy airship comes in from the sea and lands in a quiet street, with nobody on board.